Hello again, everyone. This is Joe Henches with Beyond the Chart, and this is stock trade ideas for the week of March 30th, 2015. Today is Sunday, March 29th, and we're going to take a look at 4 trade ideas that we exited last week, 4 more that we're currently in, and then 1 new one starting tomorrow. So let's start off here with IBM. Okay, so IBM we got in on the 18th. Okay. So I had seen what I thought was a possible head and shoulders here. I liked the way it was turning. Got this nice close in here above the moving averages and nice solid move. And we got in near the close in terms of an entry on the trade idea. And then as it approached the top up here at the previous high, which also seemed to be the previous highs here and here, it started to run into resistance, started to back on down, so it took off half the trade, and it was a nice profitable trade on the options. Again, the details are on the Trade Ideas webpage. If you're not a subscriber, it's very easy to do. Just first name and email. You can sign up either after the post here or on the homepage. But anyway, the details are there. And so then as this pulled back, it pulled back more than I thought it would. And so what I had was a stop set at break even, that if the bid got to the original entry price, we were going to exit the trade, and that happened here on the 26th. So that is IBM. Let's take a look at FEYE. Okay, FEYE, we were looking at this. I had a little bit of a bullish count here, 1, 2, and I'm still maintaining that bullish count. But when I saw the way this was acting here on the 19th, this looked negative to me, a negative picture where the moving averages crossed in this kind of reversal action here and got in with the with puts on this day. It was down then 4 days in a row right here. So on this day, let me get rid of the crosshair so you can see what I'm talking about. The entry day was down, then 1, 2, 3, 4 days in a row. I decided to exit. It seemed like it was stalling out to me. It had been down 4 days in a row, and when I looked back, there weren't too many times where it had been down more than 4 days in a row. And of course, then the very next day, it continued down even further and hit exactly where I thought it was going to go, which was 38.5 to 39. I really thought this was going to come down here and at a minimum test the top of this gap. And what was the top of the gap? Top of the gap was 35.44. What was the low? 38.02. What did I say? 35. The low on this day is 37.87. Okay, so the low on this day, which would be the top of the gap, is 37.87. The low on this day is 38.02. So it got within 15 cents of the top of the gap. Pretty doggone close. For all intents and purposes, it got there. But I got out a little too early, missed, a really nice swing down on profit, but we still had a nice profitable trade in just 3 to 4 trading days. So can't complain about that. Now, the next one we're going to take a look at is U.S. Steel. U.S. Steel, again, got in here, looked like on a daily chart like I was seeing a small head and shoulders pattern. Okay, little shoulder, head, a little bit of a shoulder here. It was much clearer on a 60-minute chart. When I looked at an hourly chart, it really showed up nice and clear. So got in here on the 23rd, started to move, thought it was really going to pop and run, and thought it might go all the way to where, I thought it was going to go, at least 26.5 up here and kind of retest this high up here. But it didn't do it. On this day here, it started to reverse on down, and I said, okay, well, I'm not going to sit back and let it just take everything away from me while I watch to see it develop. And it still may go, but we were given a nice little move in 2 days, so I exited the trade here on the 25th for a nice profit. So again, a nice profitable move. Got handed to me in 2 days, so we exited the trade idea. The next one we're going to take a look at is First Solar. And First Solar was another one that was a quick 2-day, and this ended up being like over a 60% profit. So what happened was the entry on this day, on the 25th, was a beautiful setup, entered at this dotted line here where I've got this drawn, and pretty close stop to where we'd be wrong on this thing, and it came right on down, and then within 2 days, I was hoping on this. So here's entry day, in second day, third day. I was hoping on this third day it would run a little bit more, but when I saw that it wasn't, it was kind of stalling out, I said, okay, we're grabbing the profit. We got it in literally 2 trading days because we entered here, so it was 1, 2 trading days, and it was very, very nice, trade results. So that's first solar out. The other thing that was impacting me, or influencing me in terms of my perspective on this, is the 21 day is still up pretty strong. The 55 is up nice, although granted, the 55 is still below the 233. Okay, but this momentum was pretty strong to the high side, and there was nothing to say that this thing couldn't snap back. And once I had it in, the profit sitting there in my hand, I was going to walk away with it. All right, the next one is Apple. Now, Apple is, let me see if I can rescale this or something. Okay, so right now the entry on Apple was right here. And again, this was very similar to the action I was seeing on FireEye. Moving averages crossed, got a little bit of a reversal bar right here. And we got a little bit of a stall out on these 2 days, but then it's come on down, and it seems to be, wanting to make this move. It broke this trend line that I had drawn here. I do think we've had 5 waves up. That's influencing the what I think is going on. And at a minimum, I'm kind of looking for at least a 2-legged move. So one leg and then a second leg. So we had a little bit of a pullback and a second leg down. Now, if this next leg down is equal to this first leg, then that'll be down here around 117, 118 or so, down in here, bottom of the Keltner channel. Conservatively, that would be an interesting place. Now, I know we got this gap that's sitting right here that was made. That's kind of below the 55-day moving average. So we'll just have to watch to see what we get. And depending on how this price action, I may want to, grab this to get out. Now, we're sitting on a nice profit on the trade idea as it sits today on these puts. And worst case, it'll be break even. In other words, once I've got this kind of profit, we're not going to sit here and take a loss on this trade. Okay, so then the next one is Chicago Bridge and Iron. And similar type, well, not similar, but a nice breakout that we had. We've been watching this, got the entry here. I'd actually been watching, thought we was getting a little bit of a flag action in here. Now it's actually consolidated a little bit further out than I thought it was going to, but it stayed within these lines in here. So this was actually about 4 weeks of consolidation, and then we got this breakout on Thursday, and then a little bit of continuation here on Friday. So I really would like to see a little more of a pop coming up, and watching to see. Got some targets up in here, and right now I'd have to say that the move is looking pretty good. The volume that we got on these 2 days, these 2 up days here, it's the biggest volume on an up day in like a month or more since this little breakout here. Okay, so when I look at this. The real question to me is this kind of a flag? Is the flagpole here, or is the flagpole just right in here? Even if you said it's from the top of, say, this bar right here, 41.48. So say call it 41.5. And what's the high here? 48.41. So we're really talking about a 7-point move in 2 days. Okay. So even if you say, well, let's take from this line right in here, it's about this high. So 46.81 high. So you add 7 points to that, you're at 53. So you're right in here. And where is this gap? This gap, there's a little gap right in here that actually gets closed at this low at 53.43. So that's kind of interesting. So this could be the area that it goes up, and could come all the way up here and maybe even test. You notice how we have another gap up here. It could test the 233-day moving average. So right now, bullish on Chicago Bridge and Iron. The next one is Lulu. And, saw this breakdown. I thought this was counter trend. Thought we were rolling over. Got this breakdown on this day, right at this, where this line's drawn. That was the entry point that we had for buying puts. And then, of course, then the earnings come out, or I can't remember if it was actual earnings release or, no, it was earnings, I believe. And so then, seems like it was mixed comments, mixed results, and got this big positive move the next day, and it sells off, sells back down. It didn't do much on Friday. So I'm actually still skeptical, still holding these puts. I've got a specific stop set out in terms of detail. I know exactly where we're getting out of this thing, and I'm still looking to see if this thing will continue to turn around and come down to the downside here, make a little further move to the downside, because I just think this is breaking down. This is a possible island. I think I pointed this out before, so we'll see whether or not this is topping and breaking down or not. And the next one is Twitter, which I got in on Friday. Again, I think Twitter's doing a little breakdown, very similar to First Solar, I think. The breakdown actually happened on the 25th, which was Wednesday. And I had hesitated on it. And then when it stalled out, I said, you know what, I'm going to, come in here and see if we can't get an entry on this, which we did on Friday. And we'll see if we can't get some follow through to the downside. I think this is a possibility that it could break down. Now, I understand that moving averages are the high side, but we do have divergence that's occurring here, fairly strong. I thought I had this drawn in here, but I guess I didn't. But it's over. What is that? Almost 2-month period, maybe about 7-week period of divergence that's occurring. Right in here, and and the interesting thing is I'm seeing divergence on all 3 indicators. Okay, so usually that's the strongest case when I see it show up on all 3 indicators, and you kind of go, all right. Now there's no guarantee in anything, but in terms of kind of reinforcing your potential setup, that's what I'm going for. And then it started to sell off, closed near the low of the day on Friday. All right, so that's the last one that we're currently open on in terms of a trade idea. We're open, and the new one I wanted to talk about is Electronic Arts. Okay, and this is looking interesting to me. I think we've got, when I back this on out, I think we got a little bullish scenario going on here. Pretty bullish, actually. And I've got this on arithmetic mode because the trend lines fit better on arithmetic. Sometimes you have to kind of flip between arithmetic and semi-log to kind of see which one fits better. I think we had a primary wave up and then a second wave back down here. This one, when I started looking at the wave count, this is what fit it the best. I feel like we're in a strong primary wave 3 and that we are in a third intermediate within that 3. So I think we're in a fairly bullish scenario here on Electronic Arts. And within this third intermediate wave, so here's 2, within the third one, I'm looking at 5 waves. Okay, so we had a sideways corrective action for a wave 2. I think we got a 4th wave pullback here. Now, I'm looking that this is complete. Now, granted, neither one of these have been a deep correction, so that's my little bit of hesitation, but I like the way it's fitting within the trend lines in here. So right now, and here's the other thing I'm looking at. I like the way this came back up on Friday and closed above the 10. The 10's now above the 21. They're all aligned to the high side, okay? And when I look at this scenario looks very similar to what looks like after this second wave, what I think was a second minor wave. And notice how it's right after the 4th minor wave. You got this up move right here that ended up being right near the top of kind of like a little bit of a swing setup, okay? Little swing type setup. And you're getting a similar type swing type setup with this bullish move that's happening right here, pulling back above. And it's not identical, nothing ever is, but I do like the way this is setting up, and I do think the move is going to be to the top of the channel here, because we're still in a third intermediate wave, at least as far as I can tell. So that tells me that I think it's going to be a strong move up. And so looking to get in tomorrow morning. We'll see, if it gaps, you just have to be careful. Liquidity on options, especially, this isn't a Facebook, okay? So they're not trading at $5 bid and ask spread. So if you're looking to get in with options, in the morning. Just be careful first thing in the morning on gaps and spread, and sometimes you have to let it calm down a little bit. So that's my only caution. So anyway, looking for an entry on Electronic Arts. We'll see what happens. So that's it for today. Everyone have a great week. I'll be back, let's see, Tuesday night with an update, and we'll kind of go from there. Oh, the other thing I just wanted to mention, okay, make sure you check out the training, the special training page I've got out there for you. That video, by the way, it is on stops. It's a special training video on stops. It's only about 12 minutes long, I think. I'll have to go back and double check what it is. And I'm only going to have it up for just a few weeks. It's not something that's going to stay out there forever. I'm going to have it up for a few weeks because I've got another series of training things I'm going to put out. And I will be taking that down. So make sure you check that one out while you can. All right, this has been Joe for Beyond the Chart. Have a great Monday, Tuesday, everybody.